Alright, Lips in Halifax, Nova Scotia with me, Jason Saulnier. How's it going?
It's going great, man. It's awesome. Having a really killer time.
Yes. New album, how would you compare it to metal sound quality? I think it's, you know, very powerful.
You can't really compare it.
No?
No, because that era didn't have what they have these days, so you can't really compare it. Very, very different sounding, really.
Let's say with your guitar equipment today compared to the 80s.
Same.
Much things changed, or is it the same?
Nothing. Nothing's changed. Not at all.
A little FX box change?
Same, no, all the same gear, same amps, same guitar, same player.
What type of guitars was made in the early days and compared to now? Same thing still?
Yeah, I'm still using the same guitars, really. I use a semi-hollow Flying V, but with a Gibson T490 pickup in it. And when I use a Gibson guitar, it's the same thing anyway. So a semi-hollow, a couple of them. I've got a ES335. I've got a Dave Grohl 335 that Dave gave me. Yeah. I like semi-hollows with Gibson pickups in it. Basically, it sounds great in a Fender amp, and that's what I've been using my entire career.
Throughout the years, did you change pickups too, like to discover that this is what I'm?
Yeah, but out of emergency rather than preference, you know.
Okay.
I tried other pickups because I had one instance where I guess something must have happened during a flight or something where the pickup, when I plugged it in and during the recording of This Is 13. The pickup blew up. One of my Gibson pickups blew up, and I ended up getting a Seymour Duncan or something like that to replace it. Didn't like the sound of it.
Okay.
I actually, for the first time, actually realized, hey, there's this difference when you change pickups.
Yeah.
Because I've been using the same pickups for decades, so I never really tried another brand. I always stayed with one thing because that's what I was used to. When I tried the other pickup, it didn't have what the other had. I mean,
the old stock pickup was always better.
Yeah, it just was, yeah.
Interesting. A lot of people do take their pickups, change them to put, to replace the stock.
Well,
pickup.
what's really interesting is in the early days, of course. When I say early days, I'm saying in the 80s. It's not that early, but when you use really high volume amplifiers, pickups squeal.
Right.
Big problem. And the guy who built my semi-hollow Vs taught me that you have to dip the pickups in wax in order to stop that from happening. So of course on my earlier guitars, like my original Flying V that I recorded the first album with on my 335, they had the original stock Gibson pickups that were not waxed. So when you turn the volume up, they just squealed.
Yeah.
There's nothing you could do about it. But when I got the hollow V made, we took apart a Gibson pickup and dipped it in wax. And I went, wow, doesn't do that anymore. It didn't really change the sound because wax is an inert, non-conductive substance.
You're teaching the world right now something.
Yeah, so it didn't change the sound of the pickup. Then what squealing is, the wires, a very, very fine, thin copper wire is wrapped around a magnet. Now, when it's like that, when you have high volume, the sound actually vibrates the string, the wire.
Yeah.
And what the squealing is the wire's vibrating.
Okay.
It becomes microphonic. Starts squealing. So the vibration, I mean, that's what a speaker is. It's basically a coil. As well as a microphone, it's a coil with a diaphragm, basically. Yeah. So this hasn't got the diaphragm, but it's got the coil, and the coil starts howling because all the wires are vibrating. So when you wax it, it solidifies all the wire together without breaking the insulation on the wire, right? It just makes the wire sit still. So no matter how loud you get, you're not vibrating those wires and you don't get any squeals. So that's what I was doing, and now pickups all come pre-waxed. All the companies, Gibson, Seymour Duncan, you name it. Every company is now dipping their pickups in wax.
Will you one day do this and they'll...
Yeah, he says if you do this, it will solve your problem. You'll be able to turn your amp to 10 and it won't squeal. Wow, I've never heard of it, but it works. Works great.
When you went to Japan the first time, and the famous footage that we always see that you're immortalized in, do you recall what type of gear you had? Was it the same gear from North America that went there in Japan?
No, they had, and that's actually really fascinating because I went back just recently, of course, and there was my rigs, and I'm almost positive they were the same amps that I used 25, 30 years ago. I mean, come on, man. The amps that are sitting on the stage right now are the amps I recorded my first album with.
Oh. So
I mean, Fender Twins last forever.
Yeah.
They really do.
So you have the original Fender Twins there, like the old ones.
Yeah.
The rare ones that you can't find today.
Well, I don't know that you can't find them, but if
you can't find them brand new.
You can't find them brand new, that's right.
You know, to have that quality out of it.
Yeah. And I don't know whether it's... I don't know whether the new ones are better or worse. I've got some new ones as well, just recently. Sound just the same as the old ones, so we'll see.
Just there's
we'll
people
see, and
that
I'll know if I live long enough, I'll be able to answer
someday
the question.
you'll do that. It's just there's people that say, you know, the Marshall JCM 800 is the amp of the 80s. Marshall never reproduced that. Would you say it's the same thing with Fender? You know?
No, I don't think it. I don't think the same things.
So they make amps.
Yeah, you can go get a 1965 reissue. It's the same thing I'm using.
Okay.
You know.
So that's quite interesting. You go back to Japan and you see your original gear that you played on that stage with.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Somebody had that in a little museum.
Well, it's a rental company.
Okay.
You know, and they just never bothered. Once you've got twins, why are you buying new ones?
Right.
You just put new tubes in and they're like new again.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's about as simple as it gets. They last forever.
Are you happy
so, I mean,
with that?
I wasn't surprised to see they still had the same amps. I mean, I guess it's pretty hard to say whether they were really the same amps. They certainly looked like it, but you know, they all look the same anyway, so, and sound the same, so.
You know, was it a good gig at that time?
Yeah, it was. We were the odd band out, really, because we were the only real hardcore metal there. I mean, certainly you couldn't say that we were like Whitesnake, and maybe the closest thing you could say that we were like was be Scorpions, but even that, you know, we weren't singing "No One Like You" and stuff. But yeah, we were kind of the odd ones out, really, because we were playing kind of thrashy stuff.
Yeah.
Before it was actually, when that show happened, that was the beginning of the end of that chapter.
Okay.
Realistically, that's what had happened. We had been signed to a Canadian label that wouldn't license our stuff in the United States, and they were giving up on us. And as a last sort of farewell, they put us on that Super Rock. And then after Super Rock, we were on our own. We had to make our own records and everything. The long journey that it took till the movie was made. Basically, that's what happened.
Lips, pleasure again to see you.
Oh, man.
And here on the camera.
Yeah.
All right. So guitars and stuff. What's your dream guitar? Would you say?
Well, what I really love, you know, of course, these semi-hollow things, but the main thing about semi-hollows that people are under the misunderstanding, everybody thinks they feed back. Right. Yes, they do. And that's the whole point. That's the whole point. They resonate so that when the sound of your amplifier vibrates the guitar, the strings vibrate. Yeah. Now, like I was talking about the pickups, I've waxed the pickups so the pickups don't squeal. So what happens is you get harmonic feedback. The strings come to life. So any note that you hit on them, you have infinite amount of sustain. Any note, you touch it, it starts going.
Yeah.
And that's what's great about a semi-hollow. Somewhat like a Strat. If you've ever played a Strat, they're great with harmonic feedback. That's why you get that woo, woo, woo with the tremolo one. That's where that comes from. That's harmonic feedback. Now, a Stratocaster, for whatever reason, and I don't know why that is, but they didn't have the problem with pickup squealing, so that you could do that. My problem was when I started playing Gibsons, I couldn't get the Gibsons to do it until I started using the 335s and the semi-hollows, because they had, of course, resonated and made the strings vibrate. Wow, I found a Gibson that can do what a Fender does.
Would you say you have to play very loud to get this effect going?
Well, that's the thing. When you use a semi-hollow, it doesn't necessarily have to be that loud for that to actually start happening, because it is semi-hollow. The only reason that, like with a Les Paul, you can get it to do that too, but you're going to need 10 times the volume. How are you going to vibrate a hunk of maple and mahogany? It's just not going to happen.
Jimmy Page, baby.
Well, you have to basically stand really close to his amp. Some guitarists actually touch the guitar against the amp so that the vibration, the vibration of the actual speaker cabinet resonates the guitar, which resonates the strings. See, that's what you want.
Yeah.
It's a feedback, but it's a good, what I call good feedback. And I can remember many years ago, this guy was blown away at the rehearsal place. He could hear me playing, and he'd go, let me try your guitar. I want to be able to do this. So he picks up my 335 and he turns up the volume. Of course, all the strings start going. The first thing that happens, the guitar's alive. You turn it on, it's alive. So you got to actually physically be in control of what's going on. So you got to palm your hand on the strings so that they don't start just going.
Yeah, you got to ground it.
Well, it's not grounded. The strings start going, man. As soon as the volume's up, it starts going. So the guys couldn't play. Everywhere he's touching it, you have to actually keep control of your guitar.
Or you got to be lips.
Or you got to be me. That's it. But yeah, guitar stuff is amazing. The other things that I've done to separate myself from the pack is I came up with the idea of using a vibrator. And of course, the vibrator has an electric motor, which is extremely active through pickups.
You're an innovator.
Well, I don't know if it's innovation or insanity, one of the two. But the sound, of course, the sound of the motor comes through the pickup. But even more interestingly, it can be used as a bottleneck because it's round, like it's like a bottleneck. And of course, the show aspect of what that does. But then what I did is it just kept on growing. I found that the best kind of vibrator to use is one that has a vary speed, so that you can actually rev it up and actually change the frequency. So it's going. So you can actually play if you're really good with it, and I've actually been able to do that.
You're quite a master of it now.
Yeah, I've actually can play. I can play Smoke on the Water with the speed control on the thing. It's an instrument with another instrument. It's very, very odd.
Is there going to be an album in the future featuring this vibrator, the Anvil vibrator?
Yeah, I don't know. It made its debut on the song Mothra many years ago. You can hear it, and Motor Mount. The beginning of the song Motor Mount has that. That's
okay.
The vibrator being turned on. The guitar is tuned to an E chord, and I just ran the vibrator all the way up the strings, not pressing down hard, just so that the strings would vibrate underneath it, and then as it goes up,
So Eddie Van Halen uses a blow dryer in Panama, and you use a vibrator.
That's right. Hey man, rock and roll is all about having fun, sex.
Yeah.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Man. Using the vibrator is definitely the sex part.
Yeah. I remember seeing you in Moncton with this, and the people, which probably never seen it before, was just like, "What is this?"
Yeah. They had it coming to them too, man.
Yeah.
Just a shock. But that's the thing, you know. You gotta. I think it's important to have something that sets you apart from the rest. And it's not just playing, and it's not just singing. It's, you know, it's like Angus Young, his shorts, in the school pack, and looking like a school kid. That's his thing. You know, only one that does that. So, you know, and there's been different guys. It's like Ted Nugent with his tail, his big birdland. Each guy has their own sort of image and look and style. And that's what I was looking to do.
What was your favorite era of look?
70s.
All right.
70s, no doubt about it. I think the biggest part of the renaissance of rock music existed between 1967 and 77, really. I mean, all the bands that metal grew out of is where the roots of it is all existed in that time frame, which was really the renaissance of the electric guitar and using distortion. You know, from Hendrix, once Hendrix came out in '67 using distortion and introducing feedback and
master feedback
and making guitars being able to actually sound like virtually like a saxophone. You know, really long sustained notes. Being able to play triplet. Where you're playing licks, you know, where it's 3 notes, and all that started being introduced into actual guitar playing. Where it's gone from there. I mean, obviously, the biggest leaps and bounds were once distortion got discovered. Then all of a sudden, it just opened up the whole world to this new way of playing. And of course, you know, the greatest innovators, in my opinion, existed during this period of time. Guys like Schenker, Uli Roth, Hendrix, Robin Trower,
very good guitar.
Frank Marino, Ted Nugent. Obviously, Ted Nugent, Christ, 1971, Call of the Wild. You know, this is when the stuff was really pioneered, and I really don't think that it's been as exciting as it was during that period of time.
Lips, pleasure talking to you.
Okay,
we're out of time.
Okay, Jason.
Again.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time.
No problem.